various narratives. They're all in conflict, etc. But guess what? That doesn't mean we have to kill one another over it. Let me bring up something that I asked Groke for help on this one. Oh, haven't I gone there yet? Wow. Might still have to get phone called. Yes. Shoot. That's so silly. Sorry about this. Gotta prove that I'm me. Okay. So I apologize for having so many things I keep posting for you, but what I'm trying to do is make it all available for you if you are interested. So if it's too much, I can start removing some of them once we've talked about them. But look at this one. So today, and we can actually blame this concept on the postmodernists. We'll think of things as a narration, a story, and a meta-narration is a story that is the big story, the big picture of the universe. And theoretically, each one of us needs our own meta-narrative that we believe is the truth of why we're here and why I get up in the morning. And that narrative, of course, teaches me in response to Peter Berger's questions. It has to explain to me who I am, what my place is in the universe, and how I maintain that place. What am I supposed to do, right? So we'll call it a meta-narrative, call it a Weltanschauung in German, and so on. But so meta-narratives, I asked Groke, which ones are successful? And Groke gave me types of meta-narratives and their success. So for example, the most successful ones are religious meta-narratives. So if you're, by the way, a scientist, you might be pissed off at this. You might want to argue with Groke. No, wait a minute. But here we have these religious meta-narratives posit a divine creator and a moral order with humanity's fall from grace. Typically, for example, original sin or disobedience leading to a redemptive arc. Virtues include faith, humility, justice, compassion, goals or salvation, ethical living, and eternal union with the divine. Narratives like the Akedah, Abraham's sacrifice, emphasize submission and covenant. Notice Groke will constantly refer to my queries because I've been asking it lots of questions. And it's keeping track of all of that stuff, and it interestingly contrasts them as it gives me more stuff. So success evaluation, how is it going to figure out success? Longevity, billions of adherents, enduring through millennia, promotes communal virtues leading to societal stability, for example, charity, law-based ethics, psychological studies, show religious faith correlates with higher life satisfaction and resilience. However, rigid dogma can stifle adaptation. And so the overall rating of these types of meta-narratives is 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Eastern spiritual narratives. Hinduism, Dharma, Karma cycle, Buddhism's Four Noble Truths. Summary. Hinduism's views life as a cycle of rebirth governed by karma with virtues like Dharma and Ahimsa, nonviolence, leading to moksha, liberation. Buddhism emphasizes suffering, suffering's causes, that's desire. That leads same thing, that's Pandora's box, right? You open the, Pandora opens her box, and you let out all Pandora, all the gifts. That's good and bad, right? So if you have good things, you get bad things. Success evaluation, extremely adaptive. Mindfulness apps. Mindfulness apps. You can tell it's a computer program that gives us that. Mindfulness apps. Yoga in the West promotes personal virtues, fostering inner peace with studies, etc. High endurance, over 3,000 years, but can lead to fatalism. I certainly feel that is a dilemma for Buddhism. And so the rating is 7 out of 10. And there's the Enlightenment humanist meta-narratives. And these are really what we're getting to with Spinoza. Rooted in thinkers like Kant and Voltaire, this narrative sees history as linear progress toward rationality, science, and human rights, virtues, reason, tolerance. By the way, one of the main reasons I'm emphasizing Spinoza is because he's the one that brings up tolerance. We need tolerance for other religious groups, tolerance for other people. And after all, they're all part of God. So killing those people is inflicting damage on God, right? Universal equality and knowledge, it secularizes religious eschatology. Eschatology, that's the idea that there's a second coming, and there will be a second, reincarnation. No, we might die, but we'll come back. Whatever that word is. Reincarnation? Resurrection. There you go. Thank you. Probably the same word, different language root. But so yeah. Where am I now? I got lost. So reason, tolerance, innovation, goals, universal equality, and knowledge. It secularizes religious eschatology into technological utopia. There's Isaiah Berlin's roots of romanticism, Abrams' natural supernaturalism, success evaluation, not as good. 6 out of 10. I think that's one of the reasons why this kind of scientific meta-narrative leaves so many people behind, actually, is because it has these kinds of problems. Marxist, socialist meta-narratives. Notice these are horrible. 4 out of 10. They don't work, basically. This is gross. I do want to ask Groth, where did you get this? The standard here. But 4 out of 10. I feel that the same place for those should really be for existentialists and postmodern meta narratives. Notice that's only 5 out of 10. It rejects grand narratives. The whole point of these meta-narratives, they're the grand narratives. Jean-Francois Lyotard argues, I'll quick show you this. The postmodern condition. The problem with being postmodern is that you don't believe in postmodern narratives, meta-narratives. Society no longer believes in these meta-narratives. They're unbelievable. you basically end up being stuck with your own. You've got to figure out your own way, etc. By the way, the book was prefaced by Frederick Jamison, not a relation of mine, but he explains in the preface to the book that actually you can't live without a meta-narrative, even though Francois Lyotard points out that the postmodern condition is this no longer being credulous, or the incredulity of meta-narratives. So it's kind of, the preface of the book tells you the book is wrong. I think, that's cool. However, he smoked himself to death, by the way. Not a great meta-narrative, just so you know. Smoking yourself to death. Am I boring you guys to death, or is this fun? Okay. So, existentialism rejects grand narratives. Authenticity, we'll talk about Sartre later on. And so our success, 5 out of 10. Somehow that gets better than Marxist and socialist. Scientific technological meta-narratives. This is really what you get with Spinoza, and you get a 7 out of 10 success. It's practical, but ethically uncertain. The trouble with these is science concludes that they know all sorts of facts, but when you get to statements like, this is good, who says? It's not a scientific thing, right? So morality is all about what's good and what's bad. And as far as science is concerned, you can't know that. It's up in the air. Different people believe different things. And as a result, it's ethically uncertain. And I would call that basically the main problem of the ethics associated with utilitarianism. Haven't gotten to that yet. We're still working. Okay. So which meta-narratives seem most successful? Religious meta-narratives. So when we talk about people like Jonathan Haidt and other contemporary sociologists, Jonathan Haidt is Jonathan Haidt, sociologist, social psychologist, talks about how we can improve life and our moral foundations. He's trying to be scientific about it. By the way, Sam Harris, if you're familiar with Sam Harris, how many folks are familiar with Sam Harris? No one. Ooh. Okay, Sam Harris. Yeah, Sam Harris is big. Big in all of this. He's trying to be scientific. He's also a Buddhist, just saying. But at the same time, he's going to argue that science can solve the ethics dilemma. Basically, because happiness is the measure. The trouble with that is that there are religious groups that do not believe happiness is something we should be after. Happiness, after all, is a sin.
Well, what's the reason for it existing then? And how does science equate happiness? How do you prove that in science? By longevity?
Well, I recommend this.
Hey, if you're happy, you're less stressful, that's better for longevity, I get that. That's the only thing I can think of.
This is called a commercial.
It is. Did you see
And
it?
it
Is
won't
that
let
TED
me,
Talk?
it won't let me out of it.
Oh my God.
How did I get out of this?
Thing.
There we go, okay.
Relationship between science and human values. Now, it's generally understood that questions of morality, questions of